all these years the burden that they survived when their friends, their colleagues did not. We have returned to so many of the survivors and first responders that we have been following for 2 decades here, lives forever linked by that day.
The morning of 9/11, it was warm, it was clear skies, it was a beautiful fall.
It was a clear, beautiful morning.
Yeah, it was. I would walk past the fire department, and so I could say hi to the firemen that I would see all the time.
You were making breakfast for the girls in the kitchen.
I was. We had gotten up early. It was Anna Claire's first day of preschool.
I'm Diane Sawyer, and it's Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
I turned on the television to watch the news.
This was your second day on the job?
My second day on the job, yes. Reporting to the Pentagon for work. Started out like a regular day.
They are the stories of 9/11, forever linked by what happened that day.
This is at the World Trade Center, and there has been some sort of explosion.
17 minutes later, the South Tower hit. The plane hit 1 floor above you.
Yeah. And I realized if I had stayed up there, I would have been dead. What caught my attention was the fact that people that I knew were 100 plus stories up were hanging outside of the window. And I watched them. They were making a sign of the cross, holding hands, and jumping. To me, those people were heroes.
The Pentagon was next, 9:37 a.m.
We now have a report that fire has been confirmed at the Pentagon.
Air traffic controllers were still trying to track down every plane. They hear sounds of a struggle from Flight 93.
Negative contact, we're looking at United 93.
Dina Burnett's husband, Tom, on board. You were actually on the phone with his mother when he clicks in, and he says to you,
I'm on United Airlines Flight 93, Newark to San Francisco, and the airplane has been hijacked. He said that he was putting a plan together to take back the airplane, that there was a group of them. He told me they were waiting until they were over a rural area. I just remember being an old flight attendant, that training kind of kicked in. And I just said, you need to sit down, be still, be quiet, and not draw attention to yourself.
and when you told him as a previous flight attendant yourself to stay in your seat and not draw attention to yourself, did you suspect even in saying that that wasn't going to work?
I knew as the words were coming out of my mouth that it was the wrong thing to say, because he yelled back into the phone. He said, no, no. If they're going to drive this plane into a building, we're going to do something.
They had a plan.
Had a plan.
Other loved ones would call home too. Flight attendant Cece Lyles calling her husband Lorne.
Please tell my children that I love them very much, and I'm so sorry, babe. I don't know what to say. There's 3 guys, they've hijacked the plane. I'm trying to be calm. We're turned around, and I've heard that there's planes that's been flown into the World Trade Center. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
Back in New York.
It's gone! The whole tower! It's gone! Holy crap!
The South Tower comes down. Inside the only tower still standing, Captain Jay Jonas.
And I got a couple feet away from the stairway door, and it starts. The collapse of the North Tower with us still inside.
Let's get in here! Get away from the glass! Don't open it! Get behind! Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at the shadow of death! Oh my God! You're right! Oh my God, you saved my life!
Somewhere in that debris, Captain Jay Jonas and his team, when suddenly they see a piece of the sky.
And all of a sudden, a ray of sunshine hit the stairway. And I looked up and I could see like a little sliver of blue sky. I said to the guys, I said, guys, there used to be 106 floors over our heads. Now I see sunshine. So I think we're on top of the World Trade Center. I just shake my head. I says, I can't believe I'm here.
Of the last 25 people out of the South Tower, Florence was number 18. We have followed her for nearly 20 years, and we will never forget seeing those reflecting pools for the first time. The names of the fallen etched in bronze, and Florence's friend, Jill Moore Campbell.
I always remember Jill's smile. I try never to think about the way she died. As a company, we were very, very close. We all knew Jill.
She was a young mother who proudly brought her baby to work. And now, 20 years later, a phone call from Jill's son.
Oh, I was so happy to talk to him.
And later tonight here, you will hear what was said in that phone call. It's hard to imagine a son who never knew his mother calling Florence 20 years later and asking her, "Can you tell me anything about my mother?" And you'll meet that son. You'll hear about the firefighters buried in the tower who somehow survived, the bravery inside the Pentagon, the woman who reached out through the smoke, someone grabbing her hand. We reunite her with the man who saved her. The heroism on Flight 93, the